Oh, don't mind me. I'm just pretty much shutting down my YouTube channel right now, you know. I've seen the writing on the wall. You know, I've been following this story for a while. I've been looking at things, and it's pretty obvious what's happening, and it's pretty obvious, you know, what I need to do as a content creator, because let's face it, I like to do everything on RGT 85, from retro gaming to modern gaming, whether it's PS4, Xbox One, old Sega consoles, old Nintendo consoles, Atari stuff. I like to cover the vast world of video gaming because that's what interests me, but I could definitely see that a lot of people enjoy my Nintendo Switch stuff, whether it's news or reviews and things like that. But if you've been following this story and following everything that's going on, Nintendo is done. It's over. The writing is on the wall. Everything is coming crumbling. It's coming crashing down, and it hurts inside. I've got to be a man. It doesn't help to hide, but there's nothing I can do about it. I can't stop this from happening. The Switch is done. Let's just throw away your Nintendo Switch. Throw away all your Nintendo stuff, because the Nintendo stocks have gone down, folks. They've gone down, and I don't know what to do, and it's really stressing me out because everyone on the internet's like, oh, Nintendo stocks are down. Everything's coming crashing. Everything is coming to an end. Nintendo is doomed! Nintendo is doomed! Or maybe, just maybe, it's a little bit of an overreaction. Maybe a lot of these people who are talking about stocks and things related to stocks don't really know what they're talking about. And maybe it's just a bunch of hype and drama created for people to get excited, whether it's a fear or a panic or just, haha, look at Nintendo. So in this video, I want to look at this situation. I want to look at what a stock actually is. I want to look at Nintendo's stock history. What is causing these things to happen? What are the sort of parallels we can draw from other company stocks? And maybe just shine a little light on this whole situation. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about why the stock situation isn't a big deal.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards!
So in order to fully understand this Nintendo Switch stock situation, you have to sort of know how the stock market works and how stocks work in general, because I think a lot of people don't really understand how stocks work. And honestly, that's just a product of our society. You're not really taught these sort of things in school or anything, so you kind of have to learn them on your own. And basically the way stocks work is a buy low, sell high mentality. You want to buy things when they're at their absolute lowest and sell them when they go up. So basically, a lot of people, what they do is they really want to, put a little risk into their money to get a greater return on their savings. And that's really how the stock market itself works. You know, there's also things like stock brokers and people who will handle stocks for you. Basically, you give them an X amount of dollars and you say, hey, invest this in things, make me some money with these things. And then they will pretty much control what they invest those stocks into for you. So you don't even know really what your money is going towards. You don't know what even stocks you're really investing in. Sure, some people do take the advantage and the initiative and invest in the stocks that they want to if they're not going for like a big portfolio. But a lot of people, a lot of business people, a lot of people who have all this capital to sort of throw around at stocks basically have other people do it for them. So they don't even necessarily know what they're investing in. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? Because you should. If you've been watching RGT News every Wednesday and Friday morning at 9 a.m., and I did a little snippet showing a certain question that was asked during Nintendo's investors meeting, which has actual investors that invest in Nintendo at this meeting asking questions. In case you missed that episode, let's go ahead and run that clip. This was the 15th question asked during the shareholders meeting. This is a nice building. The grass is well kept. It seems like the employees are working happily. The corporate value remains high. In regards to Mario, you lost the first round of a court case against a business that uses real go-karts and hurts your image. Why did you lose? What? Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see what I'm sort of getting at when it comes to stocks of video game companies? A lot of these people are not gamers. They're not you or me. I'm not playing the stock market right now because I don't really know that world. That world is very foreign to me. Would I want to invest in Nintendo? I mean, sure, but in the same breath, I would want to invest in like the WWE because that's cool stuff to me. I love pro wrestling. I love video games. So those are the companies I would look forward to investing in. But would that be a smart investment? Because obviously Nintendo stock has gone down in the recent time frame. That's why all these hoopla stories are coming out with Nintendo coming crashing down. That was the whole point of the intro of this video, is just the hype and the drama and the nonsense associated with Nintendo stock dropping. But is this something that's really worth talking about? In some cases, maybe, but you have to look at the bigger picture of this. So I decided to look at Nintendo stock for the past 5 years to sort of look at where they've been, where they are, and where they are going. And I actually found some very interesting things that you don't really see many people talking about, if anyone talking about it at all. So I was able to get a 5-year chart, and this chart started basically back in September of 2013, where Nintendo stock was at 113.75. And you could sort of see it go up and down as time goes on. You know, the Wii U was in full effect here. The 3DS was still doing well, of course, but it wasn't enough to propel the stocks of this company. You did not see a huge jump until July 2016. Now, what happened in July 2016 that caused such a huge jump? Oh, it was Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go was a huge phenomenon. That actually made Nintendo stock spike up to 288, which was a very high point that they had not seen in a long time. And then as time went on with things like Pokemon Go and the Nintendo Switch announcement, you started to see it going even higher and higher. And then the success of the Nintendo Switch, of course, made it peak. But you have to look at something very interesting. Last July of 2017, Nintendo stock was at 313.5. Now, today, end of market, it is at 313 even. So it's pretty much the same as it was last year. And let's look at the last year time frame versus this year's time frame. You of course had huge announcements at E3, such as Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4, with no release dates. So potentially those could have came, you know, in 2018. Investors didn't know at that time in 2017 what was really coming to the market. The Nintendo Switch was really starting to hit its stride. You had all these games coming out in the latter half of the year. So you would think the stock would be exponentially higher than it was versus this year, where E3 was a bit of a soft E3. They of course put a lot of emphasis on Smash Brothers. They didn't really talk about any new games that were coming out for 2018 besides things like Smash Brothers and Pokemon Go. A lot of stuff looked like it was future stuff. And it's really still the same that it was last year, when last year there was a lot more hype for the system. So yes, it's very interesting to look at things like this. When you actually break down the figures, stocks go up, stocks go down. And that's just how the stock market is. Nothing is ever going to keep cascading up and get to these massive peaks and then stay at these massive peaks. It's like any sort of investment, you know, whether it's a house, whether it's the retro gaming market. The retro gaming market, you're seeing a lot of these games start to peak, and then people won't put money towards these games, which will then, what will happen? It'll start to go down. And you really just have to look at the fact that Nintendo Switch is still selling very well. You might remember in the latest episode of RGT News, we talked about how GameStop reported that Nintendo Switch sales more than doubled during E3 week, and that Smash Brothers pre-orders were through the roof. And that really shows that the company isn't really in all that bad of shape. If systems are still selling, it's still doing exponentially well in Japan, with over 4.3 million units sold for the Nintendo Switch in Japan already. Last week, it sold over 50,000 units with no big games coming out. So from a gaming standpoint, gamers shouldn't really care about what the stocks are doing, because the stock market is not indicative necessarily of the video game market. But this isn't something that's necessarily just regulated to Nintendo when talking about stocks, because you don't have to look very far back to see a similar situation happen with Sony. Now, when of course Fortnite came to the Nintendo Switch, one of the big problems was that Sony was not allowing crossplay with the system. And of course they blocked Epic accounts that wanted to use their Epic account that they used on PS4 on the Nintendo Switch. And all of these news stories went up about how Sony stock took a huge hit from this situation and their stance on not wanting to do crossplay. And all these people were like, oh look, Sony's in financial trouble, waka waka waka. But when you actually look at it, it was so minuscule, it wasn't even worth talking about. Fortnite caused a 2% decrease in Sony stock, which made it go from 50.50 to 49.34. But currently it's at 49.69, so it's up. It's up from when that Fortnite situation happened. So should we be talking about the 1% increase that Sony had now that the Fortnite situation is over? Was Sony right to block these accounts, these Epic accounts, from, you know, accessing the Nintendo Switch and the PS4? Was Sony right all along? Because according to their stocks, which seems to be what video gamers are basing everything on nowadays, their stocks are up. they're up 1%. So hey, Sony was right. Sony doesn't need to do crossplay. And that's a video for a whole nother topic. But I pretty much just wanted to show you guys how crazy a lot of these people are. If you look at the title of this video, the intro of this video, the thumbnail of this video, I wanted to sort of sensationalize it. I wanted to do this overemphasis to show you guys what draws people in, what people are addicted to. And that seems to be negativity. And that seems to be negative things about video game companies, whether it's Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. And I get that. You know, I do some negative things on this channel from time to time where it's just my honest opinion and my honest thoughts on things. But at the end of the day, it's just my opinion on things. And the fact that a lot of these different, you know, websites and different YouTubers and all these people pretty much regurgitate the same sort of thing and say, you know, oh, the stocks are going down, that must be crazy, something bad must be happening. It's just really disingenuous to viewers, I feel, and readers, because really, when you look at the big picture of things when it comes to stocks and video games, it's not really a big deal. Yes, it does impact things. Yes, things like big announcements will cause stocks to go up, but stocks that go up will always come down. So really, at the end of the day, it's nothing to worry about. If the platform you have, the platform you love, still has games coming out for it, there's really no reason to worry about these stupid things like stock prices. I just wanted to make this video because basically it's something I wanted to talk about. I did a Facebook poll over on the RGT85 Facebook page, and this question kept coming up. I wanted to do an Ask RGT episode, and a lot of people wanted me to talk about this, so I figured it was time to talk about this. I hope I shined some light on the situation for you guys and just made you realize that don't really pay attention to stock stuff. It's really not that big of a deal. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.